Mr. Lynch, thanks. How do you behave? Oh, whatever. Good morning, Mr. Massimo, Mr. Simply, Mr. Massimo, Mr. Simply, 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 Queste note di Lynch disease for last 14 days, exactly 14 days, I should do that for me, 9 years, perhaps, because for 13 days it will be easy, the birthday, and the 4 became 5 as a sum of 5 plus 5, and so for the 10, and so also 0 indietro the birthday, as the notte di Lynch, it's January 6, 36 days, January 26, 2026 inizia. Tuesday neighbors, we are dancing once again. I think this should be 5 consecutive or 50 consecutive days. 50 consecutive days is totally bad. Catastrophe. In general, also it's not 3, but before, a few hours before it was raining. And yes, so also this wine, always this wine called the Divi. Perhaps not too leavy today, but cool sure, in general, cold and Divi. It's between late afternoon 13 and 48 minutes. 6 in the fan at 16 Celsius, and starlight last 2 days. It means that it's really cold, like we see, very cold is classified to the just for the winter period, so it's about to as because on the effect that China was time for years, last June 17, was effect to radio work for years, so that the reports that last past summer, for someone remember if you follow the last past summer, I think body, so effect to also come over years, so the reports that remoto, also for the winter were come over years, last practically 2 months ago, so 16 years ago, he entered in winter, in fact, 3 percent 16 or 4 p.m. and 3 here in Italy, and so as perhaps some know, remember think of body, because my body which I suppose did, I'm sure, twice a dream and 6 for him, so since my proposal, in fact, we should watch me, it's better perhaps separate for me, that is the student collaboration for the spring exam in the autumn, for the spring association, software for the exam, the agent, for the autumn, and saying, for the season of years, classic as a in English, at least for me, also something was absolutely incomplete. Right? No, for this video, not because it's winter, it's cold in general, so we have absolutely incomplete. But when I say this sentence, absolutely incomplete, I'm really feeling as if it is referred to me. In fact, perhaps only severe in particular, in fact, I don't feel cold, but I feel cold less than the other people, thanks to this of practice I do. Since I'm here, so that 2 practices I do or follow since I'm here, to which I always started very cold, and so every winter periods of winter weather was period, I always said a comment, one section, is increased the first part of the asterisk, or the first comment, which I can explain what is practice, so someone is there, see this first part, the first comment, asterisk, which I can explain what is practice, so non forse per people, non think not this feel cold. In fact, from another little feel cold, yes, I think 90-95% feel cold. I don't know, this even to them. However, in general, in some for me, what's good? Stia davanti a scatto sotto in general, absolutely, I can say something just for me, it's really bad, artistic, so can be come a film of this. Ingeri afternoon, I think 3% this repeated just for 685 and 16 Celsius. Other important thing is the atmosphere is ci vedi. Si for the reason. Yes, routine sono beh, non sono mai porti di other room source. Questo è maybe sometimes I'll be some not. This is corte in genere ci siamo most perfect. This is supposed to fact so that repeat this again. No, yes, I think it should be 5 consecutive repeat. 5 consecutive with this totally bad atmosphere. Yes, in fact, continuing this trend of last days, according to the monitoring, my sensations, I think, and other things, I think it's practically sure that later in the from some early after might begin dark and bigger, and also to have a rain, for a few hours ago was raining, so, but let's see what happens. Since you get a think, yes, there's always a number, so we want to begin to wizards, this one, so we see if it's clear, second screen, today here, bad. Those ideas from the mythical winner, new what cortini. No, so from other mythical winners that cortini, also the cortini, also the cortini, also the cortini. Ma this is the third cortini. Only difference color of flowers. Themselves and the color of the previous second was yellow gold. Color the first one was pink. This is what is the third cortini. It's not pink. It's easy. I don't know if you can read it. Well, if you shot me, think of yes. Oh, if you not from the shot, the shot from the first part of the video, which Perugia, I shot a video where I got stranger from this window. To vedere la sua forse in the room, so from mythical winning, what you cortini, flowers, long flowers mix between the blood season, no cortini, it's number one, Martins was also number one, was also birthday, third in particular, where the cortini, usual Greek cortini, the usual quintet, where he branches, to ripresi nei passage from the fact that previous in cortini, using the mentre si ride, on my comment second section, ci should be the point third, in first comment, fourth comment, one of them, as you read the comment section, non so si chiese, should pratically you should see yes, it very well, semi short should you have the cortini, what to room, ma si chiese for the other fact, so si chiese the first part of video, which Perugia showed you the weather scat, so Jeffrey, so the classic win, classic room. Also organizzata pratically the shot similar to classic shot document of the entire sequel for the Agriculture Reviews, the beautiful Agriculture interventions, perhaps also for the first Agriculture, also the reports the Calore Agriculture. If you don't remember exactly, surely the Calore Agriculture is still a very major genre. One day, secondo me, time should change it. So these shots also related to this effect, both when there is it, the clearer shooter, also when there is, but more when there is, because the effect is major. Anzi, read a little speech of sense, non so che solo for the routine, non so che for the questione calare, perché non so che non remember exactly, non so che also read for this no routine, sorry, ma read the expression, non so che for first time, so as and this little speech of sentences, it is but also always better visible for me, its entirety. Here in this shot at this point is a mythical legendary shot. And as regard the shooter in Tunisia, but I'm not mistaken, not Tunisia was the last days of the first days of last October, if I don't remember exactly, but this is important only because important that also is not Tunisia, but also now I see red little special sense for the routine, also for it, for a bit once again, but also always better visible for me, its entirety. You need this shot at this point, this mythical legendary shot. And finally, from a mythical keyboard, a GX 640 PG 625 volts, and this is miracle generation shot. Vestiamo di piccolo, cioè follow channel, riporti le che tu hai, sono bello esiste. Sono myself, also Busquets, and finally, I hope you all get breakfast. It's really generous, massive, as I mean, it's last day of December, it's not the last December 31, plus 25. First time I see it this thing that day. from one late for me, but diese period it's kind of normal, these hours for me, where the later the same time not late for me, whereas but the whole importance it was where still fare io from Gregor Edge, se man also the treat was stato med the breakfast the international late is started to it and started the drinking the milk at the internet and in parte the it was yes svink at Gregor is Gregor sembrano di tre straccio lo ripeto poi Nicolas de Gallero late also mass but same time not better say not late the contrary perhaps as they are just rolling just one quarter 13 and 48 minutes. After the imperating shows the memory attention me also the first time to so memory and as we are saying Ekva sono most building as for absolutely. Today since I think most 1 year more than 1 year also lost the point in like factories better X for me reason Friday this was the 5th the crash more to X was the beautiful red and black and white trees perhaps insomma non fi follow me way Friday with reports and this is where IPT should be done io permesso che 1D or 1000 sono in touch but this better presidente c'è stato these things and for example shots of these things or middle speech certain shots ma tobio se inizia a giocare il combatto con questa mania so ma senza insomma ora il for example bisco sarà mai fatto fatto da maybe come sul bisco sia perché tu non vesti fatto bene cartare su bisco gioco di così gioco si chip gioco chip and per te mi segue lo stesso effetto bisco su inizia lì su quella sega ma in particolare I think so this is first one what milk factory shots long as the coffee was so cookie shop the factory shows fresh chat fragment video so shot and influence think it's 6-7 months so che sullo sto conosci bisogna video se non è better see you also one is quick so finish now there is one thing brought it one thing 169 17 21 days so sì che lo sto conosci bisogna video se non è and so since at the moment already the iPad insert it once again in milk so è good news quindi si usa l'effetto di questo breakfast questa bomba si è particolare bomba il fatto che sta spiegando gioco su quello che combatte con Sony su questo mi film di questo time su vedete video e if time lo so che toll di cosa breakfast questa mega bomba la seconda cosa quando si fa il cambio si sta la Conad ragazzi years mi sa che preso position perhaps su execo with the bomb better say a second place position because attraverso questa posizione nominale da PAM, l'Italian PAM Dark Chocolate Chip Serious fa così I do recommend you because they are really super bad. Adesso tomorrow si può fare un telefono, non ci tomorrow, quello là per ma sì.